This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's Tuesday today, which means we're doing a top 5 list, and the topic under discussion today is that of novelty records. Yes, I mean, I don't really pay much attention to what's going on in the charts these days, but certainly when I was growing up, novelty records were a regular feature in the hit parade, as we called the top 40 back then. You know, and many of them were catchy. Irritatingly so. In fact, I think that was probably one of the main traits of a novelty record. Earworms, I think they call them. They get into your head and you can't get rid of them. Many of them were also laugh out loud funny, or they just had some kind of quirk going on that made them into hits, I suppose. So that's what we're talking about today. My favourite novelty records from the 70s and 80s, beginning with
Ernie, the Fastest Milkman in the West, by Benny Hill.
Yes, now this song it has the dubious honour of being the first record I ever owned. Before this, I was probably in kindergarten, nursery school, that sort of age, Before this, I'd sort of got turned on to Hank Marvin and the Shadows, as I mentioned in a few videos, but that was, I was listening to my parents' records. This was the first record that I actually asked for, and I would kind of gurgle in a happy kind of childlike way whenever it came on the radio. If you're not sure, if you're not aware of Ernie, the Fastest Milkman in the West, it's a tragic kind of tale of a milk delivery driver who is the love rival of the guy who drives the baker's van, and it's kind of set almost like a high noon kind of Gary Cooper, John Wayne Western kind of plot to music, and I still think it's funny to this day, but the opinions will vary, I guess. And Benny Hill. If you're aware of Benny Hill and what his humour was, then you pretty much know what kind of record to expect here. But this was a big smash hit in the UK, and as I say, it's still one that I listen to these days. It's like all of these record songs, it's linked down in the description, so if you're not aware of it, go and check it out. But yes, as I say, the first record I ever owned, Ernie by Benny Hill. Next,
Getcha, by Chaz and Dave.
Indeed, the Cockney duo Chaz and Dave, had a string of hits in the late 70s and early 80s. There was this, there was the Sideboard song. What else did they have? No Pleasing You, and Snooker Loopy. I remember that one as well. Just a story of a working class Cockney dad who, whenever things aren't going to his pleasure, he comes out with this word Getcha, which is apparently a kind of well-known colloquialism in that there part of the world, but just a stand-up novelty hit with a catchy tune. Good bass line as well. Chaz Hodges played piano, and Dave, not sure what Dave's surname was, but he was one heck of a bass player. And if you listen to it, there's kind of all those disco octaves all over the place that he's putting into this in a sort of Cockney honky-tonk piano kind of tune. It sounds a weird mashup, but it works. And anyway, one of my favourite novelty songs, and that's why I included it. Next,
Jilted John, by Jilted John.
Yeah, now many people think this song is called Gordon is a Moron. That is the way the chorus goes, but it's actually called Jilted John. And this falls into the category of it's so bad that it's good. It's just one of those things that I remember many drunken evenings as a 17, 18-year-old kind of feeding 10-pence pieces into the jukebox to play this over and over again to kind of lead a rabble-rousing chorus of Gordon is a moron, Gordon is a moron. It's just basically a guy who whose girlfriend leaves him for a guy called Gordon, and hence, he's singing about Gordon is a moron. It doesn't really get any more deep and philosophical than that, but it's just so bad it's good, and happy memories. I guess that's why this one is on the list for me. So yeah, Jilted John. Next.
Star Trekking by The Firm.
I remember the first time I saw the video for this, Star Trekking by The Firm. If you're not aware of it, then if there's only one video that you go and check out in the description, then check this one out. It is, as you can see, it's all that sort of claymation kind of puppetry and stop motion kind of thing going on, with caricatures of the Star Trek cast singing choruses like, "There's Klingons on the starboard bow, and it's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it." It's just utterly kind of charming, and you get the sense of it's an affectionate send-up of the original Star Trek series, and it just makes me belly laugh every time I listen to it, or especially when I see the video. It's something to behold, so if you're not aware of it, go and check it out. Next.
Convoy by C.W. McCall.
Yes, back in the 1970s, CB radio was cool. Movies like Smokey and the Bandit and Smokey and the Bandit 2, and however many they did on that franchise. But I think the one that kicked it all off was Convoy. And just this idea that you could have like a little shortwave radio in your vehicle and talk to other people, and you went by some kind of catchy pseudonym like Rubber Duck or something like that. It just all seemed, to us as a British audience, it just seemed so kind of romanticised and, kind of glamorous, I guess, a bunch of wagon drivers talking on a shortwave radio. Yes, indeed, it's weird. What can appear glamorous, isn't it? But, yeah, it's just, I think I eventually ended up seeing the movie, but I think I was too young. It was like kind of rated too old for me to go and see it when this, I think I was probably about 9 or 10 when this came out. And, a song where large parts of it are just dialogue of people talking on essentially walkie-talkies. It's if that doesn't qualify for a novelty hit, I don't know what does. There was a British version by a since disgraced for reasons we won't go into here, DJ called Dave Lee Travis, who kind of did a British send-up of it, which was, it was one of those things where he was trying to be funny, but he just wasn't, and as I say, he since his reputation is not what it once was, put it that way. If you're interested in more, go and Google him, but I wouldn't bother if I were you. But yeah, Convoy by C.W. McCall. Pretty much the definition of a 70s one-hit wonder, really. I don't know if he had other hits, internationally, but that was certainly his one calling card that he had in the UK. And yeah, it had to be on this list of novelty songs from the 70s and 80s. So there you go, folks. That is my list of my 5 favourite novelty records from the 70s and 80s. Unusually for these lists, I usually leave it at that, but I'm going to give a few honourable mentions here to Always Look on the Bright Side of Life by Monty Python. That very nearly made the cut. The Chicken Song by Spitting Image. And I guess another one would have to be Funky Moped by Jasper Carrott, a song that we all went out and bought purely because of the B-side, called Magic Roundabout, and that is one that I do recommend you go and Google if you remember the Magic Roundabout show from kids TV when you were if you were a kid in the 70s. But that's pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this little list of my favourite novelty records from my youth. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday, 5 p.m. UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars. And I suspect this week, our favourite novelty records, but many other topics crop up as well. It's a great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.